Welcome to Classic Rewind. My name is Harry. Today's project I'm going to do is install my kindigit flush door handles. I'm going to go into specific detail on what you need to do to get it to work properly and how to install it with welding and grinding and making it fit properly. So this video is probably going to take a little bit, but I want to show you that right here in this box, I got the plain bar door handles. Okay, now I mean I got them and they're rusty. I would think that if they would send it to you, they wouldn't be rusty. But anyway, so you just want to show you that right there. This is the mechanism. This is how they work. You push here, and then you grab the handle and you pull there. Okay. So let me show you a little bit better. So you push the handle in on this side, and then you grab this and you pull this out. That's how they work. Okay. And by doing that, this right here moves the door bracket, and I'm going to show you that in detail on how that actually works. So there it is right there. So I'm going to bring you over to the car. I'm going to show you some prep work that I did. All the instructions are here. If you follow them, you should be okay. There's 3 different styles. I'm using the straight one. Okay. That being said, they go into detail on what you need to do and how to do it. But I'm going to show you in the video step by step. And let's get started. Make sure you watch the video through and through, because I have some tips that you don't want to miss. And I'm going to run into the problems that you're going to have when you install it on your 68 GTO, 69, and 71 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. Because there's a situation here and a situation here. Make sure you watch the video. I go into explaining why. Please like, share, and subscribe. Here we are. I got my level line right here. Okay, because that's how the instructions show you to install this, is to make a level line from the center of your pivot point, which is your door mechanism. And if you look, I'm going to bring some light over here, but if you look right there, I installed a bolt where the center is, and here's my plumb line. Okay, and that's how they show you in the directions. And on the GTOs, if you look, there is a line that goes straight across here that's at an angle. So that is the profile of the door. And there is a body line. So if you look this way, you could see that body line that runs all along there. Okay. Now, my opinion, I think that the door handle here should be with the rocker panel down there. Okay, so if you're looking at that rocker panel, that should be just like the Chevelle. Let me show you. So if you're looking at the Chevelle, that handle right there with the rocker panel down there. Okay, so pretty much that's how they designed it. But you can do whatever you like, because again, you're putting your own custom door handles, so it doesn't really matter. But I just wanted to show you, this is a stock 68 Chevelle, except for the motor. Everything else is period correct. So there you have it. So let me go back. Okay, here we are with the actual project that I'm doing. So here are the door handles. Okay, so what you need to do is get that center point right there, and I'm assuming I have to do some measurements, but right here, this screw is what holds, these 2 screws actually, is what holds this handle in place. Okay, and then you have the center pivot point, which is right here. to the left and the right of that screw. So you got to take these two screws out, and then you could remove the handle. This plate here is removable after you take those two screws out. So I'm going to have to do that when I start welding, but as of right now, I'm not doing that. But they're saying that that should be pretty much centered right there. So you could see that bolt. Hold on. There's a little better. I put some light on the situation here. So there's the bolt. The center pin of the door striker mechanism is right there. Okay. So what you're trying to do is get this pretty much in the center of that hole. And you are trying to get that to, when you pull the handle, to push on that bolt that I have installed. And that in turn is going to unlock the door, okay? Just like that. But if you can see that this bolt is at an angle. What I'm going to end up having to do is bend that bracket so the bolt is actually facing straight at me versus facing down, because right now it's facing down. So when you push on it, as you can see there, it straightens out a little better, but still a little bit more should come up. And I think I'm going to bend that metal bar where this hole is, where this bolt is, and I'm going to straighten it out. And I just have that there temporarily so you could see exactly the center line of that hole to the bolt. And that's what you have to do. So let's get started. This is the template that you need to install over your lines, okay? So that is pretty much what you need to cut out of this door to get your handles to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that center plate out, and that in turn is what is going to match the opening on the door handle. So let me do that. Here it is. I cut it out, so it's perfect right on the line, right there. So it's an excellent cut. So what I'm going to do now is bring this up over here, and I could either tape it exactly where I want it, just like that, right? And then I scribe a line on there just to get it to where I want it. And that is what I need to actually cut out. So let me move my fingers here. So what I'm going to do is tape that on there, and I'm going to scribe it, but I might do something better than that. So let me show you a little trick here. So, but anyway, that is pretty much where I want it, but I need to figure out where the center of the bar is going to be, where it's going to hit that bolt that I installed. So let's do that. Or let me show you something else. You could take this and put it up there and line that up so you could see where your bolt is. Okay, there's your bolt, and you could line everything up, and you could do it like that. This might be a little easier for some people if you do it like that. So let me figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. Here is the door mechanism that I removed from the door, and this is where I used a tap and die so I could thread this bolt in, so I have adjustability to see where it's plumb and level with the door. So that's the screw. So now I got to bend this plate, because I want this plate to be pretty much maybe 5, 6, maybe 10 degrees off of where it is now. So this is, right now this is pointing down. I want it to point pretty much straight out, just like I showed you earlier. I just got done taping the template on my door, and the bolt is perfectly lined up exactly where I want it. There's some light right there. So that is going to dictate exactly where I want my door handle to be. So on the other side, I noticed that this opening is maybe an 1/8 inch smaller, which I don't know why, because these are factory doors. Well, I do know why, because they're factory. But yes, they are within an 1/8 of an inch of each other. So here I think I have 2 3/8 of an inch. I didn't show you that when I did it before, but on the other side I have 2 1/4 inches. So anyway, that's all laid up. So what I'm going to do now is, so I have a nice defined line to cut, is I'm just going to spray some quick drying black paint on there, and that is going to dry, okay? And when I'm done, I'm going to have a nice defined line where I'm going to cut, instead of tracing it with a pencil and a marker. That way, that line will never move, because I'm just going to follow that to the T, and then I'm going to be able to remove this template here. So I should be able to do it with one hand. So let's start doing that. So that is my line right there that I'm going to cut. As you can see, the top part did not come out as well as I wanted it to, but at least I know it's going to be a straight line. So now I just have to lay it out to where this corner here, I wanted to show you why I did it like that. I'll wait for that to dry a little bit. But anyway, that right there is going to go right on those two edges, and you're going to have that space right at the door. So you're going to have that space right here. But that's what I wanted, for it to be centered, so when you open the door, it's going to hit that bolt. Now that the bolt's painted black, it's hard to see, but there you have it. So that is my line I'm going to follow, and I'm going to cut that out. I redid my line so you have a better view of what I did. I put my level line back up. I put my plumb line back up. I cleaned up the detail on the pattern so you could really see exactly where you need to cut. So now I'm going to take my grinder and cut that across, and cut this across, and then clean that all up, and I'm going to show you what I need to do. And once I do that, then I'm going to flatten out the little lip that's here. You can see the indentation, and you can see the indentation up top there. I'm going to flatten that out, and then there's a little one right here that is actually flat. So I got to hammer and dolly that area out, and then I'm going to put the template back on to make sure it's exactly where I want it. Once I do that, then I'm going to probably, once I flatten this out, I'm probably going to have to recut it, regrind it, get a nice straight line out of that. So there's still a lot of work to be done. This video is going to be a little longer than normal, but I just want to make sure you guys understand exactly what you need to do on this 68 GTO. 69s are the same. Actually, all the doors from 62 to 74 have this type of handle. So they're going to be indented like that, and you're going to have to work that out. So let's get started on doing that cutting and grinding. The first thing I want to do is I want to gently go over this line with my grinder. I have one of these little Dremel grinders, because when I go around this corner, I want to make sure I get that nice clean corner so I don't have an issue when I weld. So let's get started with that. The reason why I'm using this grinder is because it's easy to maintain and get that nice straight cut. You really don't have to do this. If you want, you could use the big grinder with the 4-inch wheel. Get in there, cut that out really nice, and then clean this up with your with a die grinder, with a rasp bit, if you like. But I'm doing this because I want to make sure that I'm staying with that straight line. I know I'm going to have to grind it once I install the handle and I get done welding. But I just want to make sure I get a nice, true, clean cut. So that's why I'm doing it like this. So that's done. Now I just got to get the radius in here, and when I'm going to use on my actual little rasp bit to get in there to clean that up. Or you could use one of the big rasp bit on a drill to get that radius in there, or you can drill it. There's a bunch of different ways you can do that situation there, but what I'm going to do now is I am going to get in there with my Dremel and clean that up. I just put my rasp bit in my drill, so I'm just going to get in here and clean that really well. And what I'm doing is I'm getting the radius with my rasp bit. Everything else I cut out with my little die grinder, my little grinder on my my little Dremel here. So that's what I did. Okay, that looks good. Again, this right here it's indented, so it kind of makes it hard to get a nice square and flat grind and cut because it's radius, or it's dimpled there. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to clean this up as quickly and easily as I can to show you what else to do here. I got that cut pretty much as how I want it, okay? I hammered and dollied it. That's all done. It's nice and smooth. It's going to move a little bit when I'm welding it, but I want to take this off now so I can show you what else you have to do. So on this particular style door handle, you have to take these two screws off, okay? Then it's fairly easy. I already took it apart when I first got it just to check it. Make sure you don't lose the washers, okay? Then we're going to put this over here. Then you got to get an Allen key and take out the center screws with your Allen key. Take the center screws out. And that is going to release the handle itself, okay? Take those two out. Then you have to be careful because there's a spacer right there. So that spacer gives you depth off of your your pivot point right in here, okay? So this spacer here, make sure you don't lose that. But now, slide this out, this plate, and then you have a working piece of metal that you can weld to your door, okay? So I'm gonna put this down. This is your working piece right now, which is gonna fit in the doorway. So basically what you're doing, just so you know, is that you're cutting this out so it fits in here. Now, you don't have to be precise because you could take a rasp bit and grind this really nice around this area here, but make sure you don't go inside because then your reveal is going to be different when you close your door. So you just be really gentle that you don't grind into your handle. Okay, that's why they give you the template so you could be pretty much as close as possible. So you slide it into the door. Let me stand up here. Slide it into the door, and then this piece goes in there just like that. And then you have a welding surface right on the edge all the way around. And you could see, I'm going to bring you down here in a minute, but you could see right in here, I have to add more weld to get it precise. But again, like I said, all you have to do is weld that. That's a nice surface welding area. And then just come in there and clean it up with your rasp very carefully, or a grinder, or whatever you really want to clean that up with. And that way you can manipulate your weld. So other than that, that's pretty much what you need to do. Here's your opening, right? I'm trying to do this with one hand. And here's your door handle. So you put that inside and you line it up just like that. And as you can see, right to the left, right where the handle used to be, you see that you have to add some metal in there to get that radius. So I got to make some marks, and I could weld on there, or I could weld directly onto the metal, but you're going to add a lot of heat, and therefore you're going to warp your door. So come in here and clean this up just a little more, and that way I could weld directly to that point. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to weld a little bit on the top, like I mentioned, and a little bit on the side. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me enough metal so I can weld my door handle to. And in the meantime, I have to figure out how I'm going to support pressure on the handle when I weld the handle to the door, because I want to make sure there's pressure there. I don't think I have large enough clamps. I got to check. But another way what you could do is put a piece of metal with a hole in it, use it as a washer, and then tighten it up over here. But that's only pressure here. There's no pressure on this side. So I have to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, I'm going to weld this area right in here. I am waiting for it to cool, and then I'm going to grind it, hammer and dolly it out, make sure it's nice and straight. And then I'm going to try that handle again and make sure I have enough material there so I can weld without it going crazy on me. What I ended up doing here is I welded that smooth. I have to get on the inside and make sure that's smooth so the panel behind the handle, not the panel, the handle behind the door is sitting flush. So I got to make sure that's all grinded smooth, which is not a big deal. But I want to make sure that I still get the same radius in there, so I still have a little bit to clean up here. I just got done installing this with my clamp here, and The only problem I have here now is I flattened this all out. I got it nice and smooth again. It warped a little bit, like I mentioned. But over here, what I'm having a problem with is trying to figure out if this is level line from front to back. So I want to maintain my level line, even though it's not perfect on this side. It has to get more weld, but I am going to do that with my welder, and then I'm going to grind it up really nice and smooth, and I'm going to show you what it's going to look like when it's all done. But my biggest concern is making sure that this inside is equal with this line and this level line on this side. But because of my bracket, I can't judge where it goes. Now, you could do this a bunch of different ways. You could get big clamps and put it on the other side, on this side, but you're kind of stuck with trying to figure this out where it goes. I'm just letting you know the pros and cons on this. Is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to grind this so I have a nice clean weld, and I'm going to tack right here in the corner, and I am going to see if that line, well, first I'm going to make sure this line is perfectly level, okay, with my handle. See, here's my handle right here, and I just got to make sure that this point here is perfectly level with this space in between. And then I got to do the same thing on this side, but because of my clamp, I can't do that. So once I tack weld this spacing right here is actually really good, and this spacing up here is really good. So I just have to spot weld that and then spot weld this over here and make sure it's right where I want it to be. I installed the handle from the inside. Again, it's temporarily, I have a bracket holding it in place. And as you can see right here, I installed bolt, which is the door mechanism right there. So that's all set up, and if you could see right as I'm holding the camera, it's right dead center of where it's supposed to be. The two lines line up right there. So that is exactly where I want it. So now you see that little space around the metal right in here. So that's your welding space all the way around there, just like that. And you can't see it because of the shadow, but it's down here as well. You can see it better right there. And then right in here, you can see that's all welding surface. So what I am going to do now is I am going to start tacking this in and make sure it's exactly where I want it so it doesn't move. So I'm going to put like 4 tacks, one in the corners, one in the middle, and one in the bottom here, just so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to go around and start welding it all in. But as you can see, that right there just came out really nice. Everything's right on the money, just where I made all my marks. I might decide to grind a little bit here on the corner just so I have a little more welding surface when I go ahead and weld just that little corner there. And it looks like there's another little corner right here on the bottom. You can see I have about a 1/16 of an inch, but I want a little bit more, so I just want to keep that nice and clean. It's all tacked in. I got to weld all the way around, and I got to clean this all up and make sure I don't damage the inside of that reveal, because that reveal is important. You want to maintain that same thickness all the way around. You could do that with a rasp and clean in there, and with a Dremel round edge bit, you could get in there and clean that all up. But for now, that's all I'm going to do, and I'm gonna keep adding welds. This is pretty warm up here, but I don't want to warp the doors. This is 1/2-inch steel, and this is 1/16-inch steel. So you have to heat up the handle first and then bring the heat down. See here, I tried to bring it down and it melted the bottom of the door. So I gotta fix that real quick. Some of it's tacked in. I still have a lot to do, but as you can see, right all up in here, I got, you know, this is where I cut it to put to relieve the metal so I could bend it. So I had to weld them tight. But other than that, this is filling up really well, and I just got to keep going over and over. It's a little warm right now, but that's why I'm spacing it out. I stopped. I'm doing the little video just so you can understand what exactly I'm doing. So I just got done spot welding my final spots in here. I was grinding and cleaning up as I was going, and I'll show you what I was doing. I'll bring the camera down here. I got to hit one more spot right over here, and then I got to clean it up. But the problem that I'm having is that the weld is coming down into the door handle. So now this door handle is uneven. So what I have to do is come in here and clean this up with a rasp, or use my angle grinder and get up in here. But I got to make sure I don't change the thickness of the metal when I'm doing that, because if I do, then you're going to have a weird reveal, and I don't want that. I'm done welding. Right now I just got to wait for it to cool, and then I'm going to try to either grind it, or I have a metal file. This actually works really well, especially on the door, because you want that contour, correct? So what you got to do is take your file. On the file there's two different angles. One's a cross cut and one's a directional cut. So the cross cut, you could go back and forth, and on the directional cut you could only go one way, like that. And it takes down the weld pretty quickly and evenly, and that way you can see exactly how flat this door is when you're using your file. When you're using a grinding wheel like this, you can't really tell how flat it is, and you could put waves in it. So to get a nice straight grind, so to speak, you could use a file, and it takes it down fairly quickly and easily. And I'm going to show you, I'll bring the camera down here and show you the inside of what it looks like. So here I use the file, and you can see how nice and flat that got, but you see I'm hitting this right here. So now you got to be careful that when you get too close you don't damage your panel. Okay, now over here I put a lot more spot welds, so this is all gnarly looking, but you got to clean this up. But you see the unevenness right here? So now all this has to get cleaned up in order for you to put the handle back in. So here's the handle. So I got to go in there just like that. But again, you don't want to take too much out, because then it's going to look really bad. So you have to clean this up gently and evenly to have that nice reveal. I'm all done grinding, cleaning up the weld. So as you can see, it's all uneven right here. So what I have to do now is try to make this straight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow, almost like a router bit, I'm going to follow this edge right here with a rasp bit. That's this right here on my Dremel. So I'm going to come in here nice and slowly and just clean this away and follow the existing door handle. So I'm just going to stay in this line and go really, really slow, and I'm going to clean up. And as long as I get the bottom, then I could scribe the top, and I could follow that line with my bigger rasp, which will go quicker. So, and you can see the imperfections that from the weld. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to clean this up, and I'm going to lay the handle in here, and I'm going to scribe the top so I can get a nice clean line. And don't forget, I might have mentioned this before, I'm not sure, body filler actually needs something round to sit on, not square, perfectly square. So you have to round the edges a little bit. It'll bite into the metal better if it's a round surface versus a square surface, less chipping and stuff like that. So I'm going to continue doing this. It's going to take some time, and I'm going to clean all up in here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do after I put that all in. What I'm doing here is making sure that it's nice and flush with the actual door handle, because when I welded, you have the drips like I showed you. So I want to make sure that all those are gone, and then I got to get in here and clean the radiuses away with my rasp bit. So I'm going to go really slow and get in there and follow that radius around the edge. I could see the weld buildup that's there. So once I see that going into the metal of the handle, that's where I stop. The next step I'm going to do when I'm done with that is I'm going to install the handle and make sure my reveal is consistent all the way across. This is what it looks like. I'm almost all done. So it's really nice and cleaned up. So I have to put the handle in here to see how that's going to look. But as you can see, like right in that little corner right there, well, the radius, it looks like it needs a little bit more weld and a little bit over here just to clean that area up. But I'm only going to do that because I want to see how it looks when I put the handle in. Let me show you the tools that I use to do all this. So you saw me grind up, right? And that's with my die grinder with my little disc in there. And I got in there and I cleaned this up nice and even, really slow. And I followed that straight edge because it's hard to get a file in there, a metal file. I used this little rasp bit right here. And I also used this larger rasp bit to get in there to clean up those radiuses nice and neat. But you have to go really slow because you want to make sure that you want to keep the radius of that handle without damaging it. So as you can see, like right in here, you don't want to go too much, and you don't want to go too much over here. But I have to put the handle in to see how it's going to look exactly. But those are my tools. And then to do some final sanding, I use this on my Dremel and just like clean the inside of this up, which you're going to have to paint that anyway, so that has to be clean. So to get in there, I just clean that up. Or you could use a little drum sander in there that fits on this Dremel and just clean that up. So my next step now is to install the handle and see how my radius looks on this whole edge. So let me do that. I just put in the handle. I didn't put the spacer so it's actually recessed, but once I put the spacer, it's going to be flush with the door. But as of now, it's not flush. So let me close this. And I'm going to bring you down here and show you what else I really need to do to get this to where it's perfect. So sorry about this long video, but I really need to do it to show you exactly how I get this done. And it's almost the way I want it. But again, I need to get in here and clean it up just a little bit more. The red is reflecting from the cheval. That's why it looks red. Right here is the finished product, okay? So you have the shadow of this right here, but I could adjust that by moving this up a little bit. I don't like that. That's a little too big for me on this side, but I could bring this up just a breath and it'll be lined up perfectly. I got to loosen up the screws. But this is the spacer that I was talking about that needs to go inside to make this flush. So let me show you. See right there, it's not flush right now, but this is the spacer that I got to put down, and that'll bring this handle out to where it's flush. I didn't want to install it because it's a pain to take it off and on, but I have to get in here and clean this up just a little bit more, especially around this radius right here. As you can see, it's a little tight, okay, and it's a little like ugly, if you could see that. And I want to clean that up just a little bit more, and therefore the handle is perfect. So I'm going to continue working on that, but that's pretty much the finished product. What I just got done doing was making sure my reveal is equal all the way around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this and get a different color so it's not shiny. It makes it look dull, so it comes up better on the camera. This also shows you the high and low spots, if there is any. And I could see right here, there's a little low and a little low. But that is behind the handle, so I can't knock that out. But I'll show you when I bring it down here. It's in place. It's not connected yet. But as you can see, my reveal, everything there looks pretty good. So I just want to show you different angles, okay? And now right here, there's a little low spot, as you can see, where I'm sanding it with my DA. But everywhere else, like right in here, there's a little bit, right in there, and then right in there. But that is very, very minimum body filler. So now the next thing I got to do, which I'm not going to put in a video, is I got to weld this shut and keep it clean. But I just want to show you that this is installed. It actually works, but I need two hands to open it. I got to push this in and then pull this out. So let me put you back up on a tripod and show you exactly how it works. So because it's not 100% complete yet, it's still giving me a little bit of time to figure this out. It's not flush, like I said, because I have to put the spacer in there. I have it over there. I'm going to push here, and then I'm going to pull this out, and my door opens. Closes, push in, pull out, door opens. So this is in the rough stages, so it has to do a little bit of fine tuning to get it to work properly, because I don't want to push that hard to open my door. But if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. But again, I have to clean the mechanism up, make sure everything is working precisely. But I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I'm still gonna continue the video, but I will fill this in and I will sand it and have it ready. So I want to show you the finished product. But right now, like I said, it works perfectly. So I got to do some fine sanding and cleaning that all up and weld this shut. But I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to continue working on this. I welded my patch for the lock in there. So now pretty much is just making sure it's smooth with some paint. Everything works well. Now all you have to do is push this in, grab it, and pop your door open, okay? Everything's done. I just have to sand this to make sure there's any low spots right in here. For me welding, I noticed that right in here it's a little low, but I think I could float that out with some filler. If not, I'm gonna try to hammer and dolly. It's in a bad area. It's like right in this corner, above the old lock, beneath the handle. So what I'm gonna try to do is get in there and try to push this out. I might have to use my hydraulic press just to pull that out just a little bit as I heat it. But other than that, it's pretty good. So let me sand this up, get a nice uniform finish, and show you exactly what this looks like. All right, that looks pretty good. Very smooth. There's a little tiny low spot here and a low spot right in the middle, right where I welded, but that's very easy to deal with. So I'm gonna bring you down here and show you exactly what this looks like. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. I have to do the other side, but I'm not gonna videotape that because this took long enough videotaping, and I wanna make sure I get that done before this weekend. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Like, share, subscribe, and let me show you what this looks like. I think it came out really, really nice, really smooth, elegant looking, and that came out super nice, as you can see. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, please like, please share, and I'll see you on the next one. I would have done it differently if I would have known this situation, okay? They tell you in the directions to go center of your latch, right? Plumb and level, all right? So plumb and level of your latch. That's the center hole of your door, okay? Now, the problem that you're gonna have is that this piece that opens, okay, let me get closer to you. This piece that opens here, right, is going to hit. See how I had to cut that. This is the other door handle. I took it apart. I had to cut this in order for it to clear this jam, because if you don't, your mechanism, I'll bring you down here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Your mechanism is going to hit that door. That's problem one. Problem two is when you get to this point and it's all said and done and welded, what happens is this handle is perfectly flat. I'm sure a lot of people have this problem when after they install it and they don't realize the situation. So situation two is I would have grinded this top of the door and bottom of the door handle at a slight radius, because therefore it would push the handle forward more, because the problem I'm having now is that this handle does not come past my door. It's actually recessed a good 1/16 of an inch. And you don't want to fill this with body filler because everyone grabs it and plays with it when they open the door. So now you have to figure out how you're going to bring this handle forward. I already figured it out, but I'm just letting you know that that's what you have to do. Now I'm going to bring you down here and show you exactly how this handle sits and where it hits inside. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. and I'm going to show you exactly what I did to correct this problem. I haven't completed it yet, but I will do that, and that way I'll be prepared to do the other side without any problems. Here we are. This is the door jamb right here. So this area here is literally behind the door handle. So if I would have known that the handle was going to get in the way of this door, see the crease of the door here, okay? So it's a good 2 inches or so. But that means when you get to the center of the hardware, this is the level line, and this is the, this is the plumb line, and this is the level line. That means this piece that sits inside is going to hit the jamb that's in there. Okay, so you're not going to be able to open it. If you pay attention to the video, you could see that it's jammed. And I didn't realize why it was jammed until actually I got done with everything, because I thought, okay, it's going to work. So I had to cut that angle in it. So now this piece here has that groove, which is fine, but you want to make sure you have enough meat, so to speak, to hit the bolt with the jam nut on it so it'll open your door, okay? So this is the handle. So now when I install it, if you look right there, it's actually, see the little lip right here on the bottom? That's how far back it has to come out towards me. So therefore, if that handle housing was concaved to meet the door, it would actually bring this out further and I wouldn't have this problem. But right now, it's only a 16th, maybe a 32nd on the bottom, but it's a lot more on the top. See the shadow? So that's where you're going to run into a problem if you don't bring this forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plate, and I'm going to, right in there, I'm going to screw the plate onto this, and then I'm going to put the other plate on that's with this piece that you can't see, and I'm going to make this larger. So it's going to be an 3/16 and an 1/8 inch to compensate the difference. Therefore, the handle will be pushed forward, and that way this is smooth. If you go ahead and install this, make sure you take the housing of the handle right here and grind a little radius on each corner and on the front, back, top, and bottom right here, right here. So you got to make sure you put a radius on that edge, because this is perfectly flat and your door has a radius on it. So that's not going to do you any good. I mean, it'll get close, but not as close as where you need it to. So if I were to do this differently, I would have grinded the housing of the handle to give it that radius. Therefore, it'll stick out more. They compensated you for that thickness right there, that whatever that is, 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. But it's not enough when you have a radius door, especially on the GTO. The Chevelle, let me turn you around, has even more of a radius. Look at that radius on the Chevelle. That has a sharper radius than the GTO does. So you're going to have a problem if you do it on the Chevelle. And the other thing is, I would have pushed this a little bit further, maybe 1/2 of an inch. Therefore, it would have cleared this piece and not hitting my door jamb. So I had to grind that away, and this is stainless steel, so it's a little hard to work with the stainless steel. This is stainless steel, and the little round housing that goes on the handle is stainless steel, which is this piece here. But I'm going to make it out of aluminum, and I got a thicker gauge aluminum, so I'm going to bring everything out, and I'm going to make it look really nice. So I hope this video helped you, and let's continue on.